Swipe left, swipe right on Nike. Now, Nike's earnings is a little staggered from a lot of other companies' earnings in the sense that we just got done with a big boatload of earnings. Nike's is about halfway between the normal earnings real parade. So we still got several weeks to their next earnings and several weeks from their past earnings. Now, Nike this year has performed very well on breakouts for short-term opportunities. We had Nike trading sideways for several months before finally breaking out. Nice short-term upward movement that occurred, providing a nice trading opportunity. Then we had a gap up on earnings. Price action came down. We have a classic example of old resistance, the old resistance level becoming new support before catching those shorter term moving averages, moving up. But right now we're at resistance. At the time of this video, we're at resistance. I will always swipe left on bullish trades at resistance. 100 out of 100 times, there are no examples in which I would swipe right on a stock at resistance. Resistance is resistance for a reason. Now, with that said, there are two things, because by rule, I use the wick as my resistance point. Now, it is a weak resistance point. Some individuals do not use the wick to judge. Some individuals use the closing high, which we are receiving confirmation. And this is where trading rules come in. We want to be systematic in when we get in and when we get out of trades. Every decision I make is based on a rule. Are we at resistance? Where is resistance? What is my entry signal? So while I might swipe left because I use the upper end of the wick, by rule, had to make a call, debated this particular aspect several times, referred to as to wick or not. Do you wick or not? I decided to wick. It was a tough call. I mean, I did a lot of statistical study, found it pretty even. But if you don't use the wick, you're getting entry signals to break out of that upper high. So it's a little bit tricky right now. Is it breaking out? Depending on some people's entries, yes. If you're using the upper end of the high, no. But regardless of whether you are, what your entry signal is, what I am certainly paying attention to in the next couple of days are the rising two short-term moving averages that many traders use, the 5 and the 9. You have, when you have rising moving averages, when you have a rising 5 and 9 colliding with a resistance level or breaking through a resistance level, this can be a really powerful momentum boost to not only break through that resistance level, but, you know, hit some stride and go up. So if I already was in Nike, I would certainly use those moving averages, the 5 and the 9, as a move up, as a trade management signal. If I wasn't into Nike, I would decide, well, what do I do in breakout situations? Make a rule. Make a rule today. You use the upper end of the high range. You use the wick. What are your rules for breaking through resistance? Now, this is just a little bitty resistance. It's not like we had earlier in the year where we came up and multiple times tested that resistance level. The more times you test a resistance level, the more significant it becomes. So we just have a little bitty resistance, but we'll see in the next day or two whether that minor resistance level holds. Certainly some fair amount of momentum. You gapped up, came back, tested the old resistance, became new support. You then broke through that short-term range that had developed. A little short-term range, now pushing up highs. There's a lot of bullish signals. A lot of bullish signals. So I swipe left because of my own personal rules this minute. But there is a whole bunch of bullishness there. And if you break out and you continue to move up, the slightest bit of confirmation could certainly lead to a positive trade.